A good evening. Food hopefully was good, drinks at least enough and good. And yeah, good morning. Thanks for waking up in time for the first session. Yeah, I would like to again thank to our sponsors allowing us to organize another editions of Cifron, Jilava, Diabolocon, Seamood, Sipgate, QXIP, Pascom. They are here again very early, and the recording of the yesterday is already on GitHub, and they already made the index, like table of contents, so you can jump to each session. So it's not cut per session; it's a single video, but with like a table of contents, so it's easy to go to inside the video to the right position. So thank you, Jan and the team, Pascom, for everything you did yesterday. Snom, we gave yesterday a few devices, phones, and we still have a few today to give away. They do all these kind of devices, mostly SIP phones, but also DEC phones, if you want to check them. And yeah, our partners, Glucon and API ban, plus LOD, so API ban and LOD are actually related. Fred here helping us with cloud solutions. So today it's the first session today, it's more or less open discussion in the way that I'm coordinating it. And I see not many Kamailio developers, so they had a long night, but we still have many here, like Tori, Fred is here, Henning, Xenophon is hiding because he doesn't want to have questions, I'm joking. Andreas in the back, Federico, I saw it in the morning. And then we have also Pascom guys can answer, like Sebastian and Thomas, it's author of 2 modules or so, or at least 1, if I remember correctly. So we have Jonathan there, it's also with the new modules. We'll have a presentation about his work just after this session or so. So there are many developers here that could answer questions. So it's not me that I have to answer, of course. I can get another, maybe, and let's see who wants to help. Henning, do you want a second one? And maybe you cover left side, I will cover right side, not to do 2 kilometers of walking. So yeah, you saw yesterday a bit of summary of what's happening in the development, but it's question about whatever you want to ask. We expect to be Kamailio, but of course you can ask integration with Asterix. They do with like Gilava, they had the presentation. Alexandr is here with Homer, SIP capture, and so on. So practically, any question you want to address. Who wants to start with questions today?
Still sleepy, everybody?
Okay. Tori, it was early here and...
All right, so this is a question about the SIP capture module in Kamailio. One thing I find is that when it relates to HEP, it's not often the final message. Like it will send before the topology hiding happens, and also if you do modifications in the TM local route. Those modifications, if you add headers there, those are not appearing in that. Is there a way that you can tell that module to capture at a lower level?
Okay, I think it's about SIP trace actually, because capture is receiving, SIP trace it's forwarding.
So Andreas is also here or not? Normally you can use event socket, and in event socket you can get a regional message before it's go out. Yeah? So. And you can send it as you received, and after modification you can send it twice. This is what you want, yeah?
Yeah, but I think you mean about your agent that takes it from... In Kamailio? event route, okay. Yeah. So, okay, I just want, because I work a bit on this one, there are two modes actually. You use the mode with flags in the config, like set flag or so. If you actually want to mirror everything, okay. Because with mirroring everything, there is a module parameter, yes. And then it's doing at the right place. But if you use config flags or functions, then yeah, you have to place them at the right location. As he says, there is a event route, but the event route might be from zip dump module, because that one can write pcap with incoming and outgoing, and also can execute an event route. And in that event route is kind of the what's received and what's sent out for sure. And then you can have condition on probably source IP, destination IP. You can also match on method eventually and some other stuff. But if you use the dialog or the transaction mode, then it was a single contribution from 1&1 Germany. This year we don't have, last year was Lucian here, so... No, it's supposed to duplicate on a TM callback if you use the flag method.
Yes,
it's supposed to do...
I think there's a transaction method and a dialog method, right?
Yeah.
You can also do the dialogues.
There is a function. If you want to mirror at that moment, you use the function. If you want to just mark for mirroring the transaction or the dialog, you use the flags mechanism.
Okay.
Okay.
Somebody on this side, maybe. No pressure. I come. Everybody.
That's good. That means we have good documentation. Someone was complaining yesterday. We have Stefan here. He's also a developer, so he might have to answer himself.
Hello, so my question is related to this topos module, and my problem is it exposes those event routes, incoming and outgoing, where you can drop. But for example, on the incoming event route, you don't know where you want to route that message. So for example, if I dispatch to some internal core, I don't want to do any type of topos. My question is, do you think would make sense maybe writing a new topos module that will expose a config function, and from config you can choose based on where you want to dispatch your message if you do topos or not? Or maybe it doesn't make sense due to how SIP protocol works in general, due to those headers that needs to be
But I think you can drop it on the event route. It's called twice, and actually there are 4 of them. One in a lightweight mode that is not parsing the message at all, and you can have source IP. But then there is an equivalent for outgoing, and you can do on destination IP. And you can still skip it for the initial invite, and then should skip all the topos. That is supposed to work like that, actually. But yeah, if you want to add a function to mark it, then it's open source. Like deleting it from...
Yeah, I want to skip the incoming part and not do it all together, based on some routing decision, dispatching decision.
I mean, the incoming part is run with these callbacks and everything, so actually it's difficult to do, right? I mean, when you want to decide how to skip it, right? In the core, you cannot decide because you don't have access, right? So it's a bit of, chicken and egg problem, how to actually decide how to skip without any information, because you need to process it through the core to actually decide if you want to skip it or not, right?
Yes.
I mean, again, it's open source. Practically everything is possible. I used to say that if Kamailio doesn't support something, it's because you haven't contributed yet. Now I could say probably because you haven't spent so many tokens on NI to do it yet. Because of Giri saying he put 8 hours of tokens. Or
Tori, I found another solution. You can use hlog. So, and before you do some modification, you can send this hlog zip message to Homer and collect it. So it will be original message, and after you will get modified message.
Okay. There's a function here, hlog, but okay. So, come on, the left side should.
Yes,
be
the left side. I'm asking already.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
Daniel.
Hello. I have a question about Homer. I'm wondering if someone here managed to insert into Homer other protocols than SIP. My interest is if someone managed to insert diameter interfaces.
Does Homer have support for diameter?
In agent, we have support for diameter. You can send diameter, but the problem how you will correlate with zip messages. Yeah? So it's this is a problem. So normally by host name you can do lookups, etc. But yeah, it's possible to send. It's if I remember, it's port 53 and protocol 53. It's called in Homer. You can send and store it and display it. It's even in Homer 7. It's supported.
So there is some support, but apparently no correlation with the call. So that's something you're gonna make a pull request soon. Okay, thanks for the questions. Anyone else that would like to ask? Could be also a new feature that you think of for integration with something. Not AI eventually, or AI, I'm joking. If not, yeah, we can also discuss a bit about the future. So we had quite some work on this, let's say, multi-threading and, a bit of scalability from the resource access point of view. In the past and even now, it is this question about too many connections to the database because it creates so many sockets or so. And yeah, this multi-threading, at least for UDP, helps to reduce the number of workers and implicitly the number of TCP connections to the database servers. So that's something that could be useful. We said yesterday some work for the ARM platforms from Victor, had the presentation about DMQ, but he contributed there. And yeah, security, I don't know if I counted or it's actually evaluation, but I think we got over 30 the last 2-3 months, like
that was a lot.
One reported like 15 or more.
Yeah, already in the last 2-3 weeks we got like 10, 10 reports, so a lot of, not 10 individual submissions, but like 10 different places where people found things. Thankfully, mostly in less common modules, I would say. Yeah. Of course, we're looking into it, and it will be addressed from the team.
Okay, anyone other ideas? What I would like to improve actually, and maybe some of you here can help. We have this Docker-based kind of testing framework. It's not really fancy, but instead of just having some shell scripts, it's everything kind of running in Docker. Giacomo there helped in the past a bit with Docker and test. I'm not sure how many are, not so many, maybe 30 or so. But yeah, because I think Dragos was saying yesterday that adding tests is important, but he's not here. He was afraid of questions about IMS and so. So probably will arrive just after this session as he lives around in Berlin. So yeah, adding tests, we have Ivan.
Just have a question, maybe feature-wise. So when dealing with SRTP and integrating Kamailio with RTP engine, so Kamailio can monitor by ping with RTP engine to see if RTP engine is up. Now, if the RTP engine goes down due to SRTP, you can't just flip to another RTP engine. So you have to reestablish the calls for the media to be renegotiated. Now, is there any elegant way to have Kamailio initiate that? Or because I haven't been able to find one.
There is dialogue with requests within dialogue that could be, let's say, leverage, and then the TM has some lower layer API that you can send also requests within the dialogue. But probably we'll have to do a little bit of storage or do the reinvite without SDP, so then they do it themselves as they do the reply and the thing is that Tori discussed a little bit in the morning. Apparently this request within dialog function doesn't track CSEC updates. That should not be something complex. So I would say the foundation is there, like the pieces, but you'll have to build it, and if something is failing, might need a bit of hammering from this perspective. But I saw that the RTP engine keeps also the keys for the session or not, for when doing the failover. It's not in Redis. It keeps the session keys in Redis.
No, you can. I mean, you can use Redis with these table replication to do it. It's not so easy to set up, but you can do it. You have like a primary Redis table and like a secondary Redis table, and then if you have a failover, you can move it to the other Redis table basically, and the call can continue. It's not so easy to set up, but a few years ago there was a talk from the one-on-one guys, right?
Yeah, one-on-one.
They're using it in production. Yeah, it's not so trivial to set up, but it works.
I mean, not easy in the way that the documentation could not be there. You just look at the code. But it's using Redis to keep the states. Andreas maybe can add more, but I remember that I saw something. It's why I was a little bit reticent about whether we really still need something Kamailio or with this Redis-based replication in RTP engine. Everything is fine because the keys should be per session.
Yeah, I mean, there's like a host key, maybe if you want to call it like this, right? If the RTP engine starts up, it generates, of course, an own key, but the session key are something different, right? They are per session.
And can reuse the session key from the other.
In the session. Yeah. But for more details, we probably need to ask
Richard, which is now in
Richard or Andreas.
Caribbean island somewhere, so he cut the submarine cable for today, so nobody can reach him. But yeah, should be there. Look first on that one. If not, let's be in contact, and I could give more direction. Because in the morning when Tori was here, like 5 a.m., we discussed a bit about this not tracking dialog CSEC update with the request within dialog function, which was added by Karsten Bock, if I remember correctly. Karsten used to come here. It was on the picture, the like former IMS guys in the project now doing AI stuff or so, as I could see on LinkedIn. Other questions? We still have not so many minutes because I don't want to be, so like 5 more minutes. We have, it's there. Next.
Where? Ah, okay, sure.
Hi, I wanted to ask you about it will be possible to reload the roots in the config without restarting. I know it is possible only if you use other scripts to like Python.
Yeah, that's sometimes coming back, and at the end it's again about coding, and nobody took that task to do it. lately, like past 10 years, I focused a lot on Kemi, and it had support from the beginning to reload. Mainly because, the new generations was using more this Python or Kemi scripting because they know the language eventually from other documentation, and it's easier to, let's say, start with it. And the older config, because I had many presentations about native config file and Kemi scripting, so when we add the function, practically it's easy to export it to both of them. And config file function, it's usually like a wrapper around Kemi function. But we haven't put the effort. At some point I was considering to do a quick hack to just put it in shared memory and then make it easier to swap the like the pointer to the active config file, but I never got to it because, I mean, usually if you restart, it's very fast. UDP you don't notice. Everyone is afraid that if it's a production, you can't really do it, but a lot of application restart automatically. But in telecom, somehow people think, restarting whatsoever. Can be done. It's not there. I don't have an immediate plan to do it because when I need it, I typically go for Lua these days or JavaScript, which is a module without external dependencies, and then reload it's there. So these days, practically, let's say not so many new deployments because the market is established, but it's like half-half. Native scripting usually for small kind of deployments, but then Lua, Python, JavaScript, it's quite common. So might be there. Let's see how much time we have. Sandro?
Yep. So, like any successful project out there, I think you guys are getting more security reports, right? So more vulnerability reports. Some of them probably good, some of them not so good in terms of quality and real, if they are real security issues or not. My question is, how do you plan on handling this? How are you handling this? Are you going to group them all in one release, for example? And how are you assessing these things? Can you talk a bit about what's happening? Where you can talk, of course. I'm not asking you to reveal any 0 days.
So, just to start, maybe then Henning will continue because he's also involved. We have this security group that I mentioned yesterday, and we should increase it. I think we are 5 now. It's Fred, Henning, Victor left, myself, and Ole, right? If I'm correct, Ole Johansson. And it's where we get the reports. Then someone usually reacts quite quickly, acknowledging, okay, we receive it, thank you for your effort, and so on. And then we try to distribute somehow the work. It's not like some CRM or a manager. Someone takes over, and the main question would be how much to disclose sometimes, because telecom market is freaking quickly if you have an issue. But we have internal kind of project where we put our possible solution and so on, and then we decide what word to be as a CVE from all this, because many of these reports come like highly critical issue in SMS module, which probably nobody uses. From ages, you need a serial port or so. But we keep it like for historical purposes. So it's using the AT modem that you need to connect to Kamailio server. But some modules are there. We started to archive just to reduce a lot of unnecessary security, but there were a lot of like warnings with the new compiler versions, and we knew were not used. And Then, also if it's a module that should be used after authentication, if a trusted user, a subscriber, tries to hack you, he can make also calls and then, don't pay and disappear or whatsoever. Some you need to trust a little bit. Of course, you need to protect as much as possible, but we consider them as lower priority. While that if anyone can send something and crash in Kamailio, of course, it's high priority. Because also this process, and Fred enroll with this process of reporting CVE, writing first to a company, no response, you wait, you give reminder. Then we went with this GitHub reporting.
For the CV creation, yes. Yeah.
Because I guess those companies were also overwhelmed with a lot of reports eventually.
Yeah. I mean, good.
So like Daniel was saying, there's a security group. We discuss it among ourselves. There may be disagreement even on that. It also gets talked about on the management level sometimes when there's an absolute critical release that can affect everything. That we will issue generally a new release, and CVE, like that just happened. As everyone knows, we had 2 CVEs. That process was enjoyable, but what Daniel was alluding to was, we tried to do it through, in the past, most of our CVEs was gone through Mitri, or however you want to pronounce it, and they didn't even respond to us for 2 weeks after we submitted it, so we ended up, and so we ended up, since we're hosted on GitHub, GitHub can now issue CVEs, and it was a process.
48 hours, it was quite okay, no?
Yeah, and when I first released it in the draft mode, of course, because of our setting, it was announced to the world. But so we've corrected that. But I think the GitHub method that we have now in posting the CVEs there, I think works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with it. But yeah, I mean, we address them quickly, and then we do releases, and we try to work with the reporter to make sure that, if we do need more time because of the seriousness of it, like this last one of the CVEs is, I mean, it was quite old
15
in
years
the code, and you have, sadly, because of the stability of Kamailio, a lot of people just simply don't upgrade. And so, I mean, we want to try to, we work with the reporter to see if we could give more time, so we could give notices to companies that we know are using it, that have an older version, that they do need extra time to implement things like that.
So maybe just one little thing to add. So there were also some investments from different developers, from the open source, from the team, from the core group, to extend the fuzzing as well, using the OSS fuzz from the Google. So you might or might not know, and this is also quite helpful to proactively address some issues, I would say. There are also other researchers who do fuzzing, not publishing security reports, but just improving general security of the project.
So, like escalation, to summarize until Jonathan sets up, because we now are a bit late, but okay, no issue with that. So it's security group. We kind of do a triage there, select the important one when it's very critical. The next would be, we have so-called management board, which is not always just developers that understand the code, and then from there it's maybe another decision. And if it's really critical, those people in the core of the project, the developers that we trusted, are notified as well. So security and management then close developers of the core. And we advise everyone to fix their deployments if they run it, or advise their customers to update. And then we make it also public in the way that, hey, the next release is important, or the last release is very important, you should upgrade. And 3 weeks after we released the CVE. So that was
Yes.
the process for the last one.
Yeah, but in general, every minor release contains important updates, also on the security side, even if there's no CVE. This is important just to know, and if you have an important production environment, it's always good to use the latest minor version.
Sometimes I get from mailing list, but like private messages saying, hey, I saw this kind of fix, can I get it in the minor release 2 editions ago? I said, yeah, but that's actually in the same series, would be like just migrate to the latest version. No, I want it, that version released with a new patch. I said, that's not possible. That's a snapshot in time, you know. Once we release like 601, that is, and they come later when we have 605 and saying, can you release that one, but we dispatch? I say, no, it's not how it works. If you want to do yourself, check out, cherry pick, but we can't rebuild the release. That's it. If it was somehow broken or regression, this is okay, quick thread. And
yeah, I mean, there's lots of changes that happen all the time, and we highly recommend that when a new release comes out that everyone upgrades. We support the last 2 versions, so right now it's 6.1, 6.0. 5.8 will get some security updates as well, but update. PASCOM went, and they discussed their process of, they put the time in to make the updates easier, and then the updates are easy. If you put in the time to make it easier to update your system, we highly recommend. New software is coming out, AI is attacking everything, and it's a good thing to keep modern.
Okay, so thank you everyone. Yeah, we warm up later. I thought it's gonna happen like that until people got into the mood of speaking, but I want not to delay it. We are like 5-6 minutes already.